Whoa! Look who decided to show. Too late!
I know. I finally saw Ice Age: The Adventures of Buckwild. It's out since March 25th on Disney Plus here in Europe. It came out at the end of January in the US and most of the world, but nope, for a reason we don't know, March 25th was our release date over here. So yeah, here it is. I figured I'm gonna take my time and do a video on this whenever I would like. Yes, that's right, the whole thing here is to be early, so now I don't have to for a change. Hello, fellow Disney Plus watcher. It's nice to talk with you about Disney Plus today. If you love Disney and Disney Plus as much as I do and enjoy talking about it, why not click the subscribe button to stay up to date and give it a like so that more people can find this video. Thank you so much. The Adventures of Buckwild follows Crash and Eddie, who are in search of independence. One night when they leave the herd, they stumble upon the lost world again. The underground dinosaur world. Manny, Ellie, and the gang ended up in the third Ice Age movie, Dawn of the Dinosaurs. And as is everything in the world of Ice Age, everything is right around the corner, and our favorite two tiny possums happen to find the doorway into this universe again. No, it's not that important. I'm not gonna keep bitching about that sort of stuff. There they meet Buckwild again, voiced by Simon Pegg, because it's a small world, and he tells them he's on a quest to protect the lost world from an evil dinosaur with a big head who wants to have control over the realm, because yeah, it's that simple. The biggest problem with this movie is not the actual content itself. Now let me explain. It's not even necessarily the fact that it has subpar animation compared to the series as a whole. It's not that it's annoyingly apparent which backgrounds and which environments they already had ready from previous movies and which were totally new. Really, I thought it was quite heartbreaking to look at this. A really nicely rendered snowy landscape, and then 1 minute later to go back to this scene with Crash, Eddie, and our new female possum character, and looking at this cheap video game rendering that looks like it was made before I was born. Ouch. Oh yeah, and from here on out, I need to talk about spoilers. If you haven't seen it, or if you don't care for spoilers, and really I don't think you necessarily should, because there's not many shocking things to spoil, trust me. But you know, spoilers. The biggest problem with this movie is also not the incredibly simple baseline story, because it's not much more than this. Crash and Eddie leave the herd because they want to be independent. They run into an old friend who takes them on this quest to beat a bad guy who wants to rule the world. They take him out, and while doing so, Crash and Eddie learn that they indeed have become more independent and save the day. During the finale, which is honestly one of the worst finale set pieces I've seen in the last year or so, Manny, Ellie, Sid, and Diego finally find Crash and Eddie, but oh, they're in the middle of an epic fight, a fight against the incredibly weak and stupid dinosaur minions. Really, one of them gets taken out by a berry. And it's like, and it knocks him unconscious. Everything about the main villain's minions was stupid, unfortunately. The biggest problem with this movie is also not necessarily the villain. Although this guy, Orson, born with an enormous brain that makes him feel entitled to rule the world, yeah, that's the only motivation. I have big brain, I smart, I go rule the world. It's so baseline boring and annoying of a villain, but his introduction was actually very cool. For a while, we only see Orson in shadows. Like for 2 scenes in a row, this guy's actually pretty menacing. But then we see his ugly pig face for the rest of the movie in broad daylight, uttering the most generic of villainous plots. The world is coming undone kind of crap. By the way, yesterday I went to go watch Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets of Dumbledore. Dumbledore. Oh my god, can't do this. And it was okay, but they really gotta stop using the line, "The world is coming undone." Yes, they used it. Okay, I don't want to come across as hateful, but Orson was a lazy-ass villain, I thought. But again, not the biggest problem of the movie. Well then, is the biggest problem with the movie the incredibly uninteresting Z, or let's call her by her real name, Zaza. And yes, what was all that about? The whole movie, they tease Z's name like it's gonna be a hell of a reveal. They reference it like all the time, and it's played up like it's this secret Crash and Eddie must find out before they get to know Z's real persona. Like they play it up like it's that important. And when the movie ends, it's just, oh yeah, by the way, my name is Zaza. Just so you know.
My name is Jeff. It was Dora and Diego.
There's also this one line that is just really corny.
I'm a mammal on a mission to bring equality and justice to the lost world.
Because honestly, how empty do you want the term equality to be? I see this term now thrown around too often in real life, but also in a lot of progressive movies. Like, what are we doing? This is the only line that references Z's quest for equality and justice. What does equality look like here in the Lost World? If I didn't know any better, I would think this is empty calorie politics finding its way into this movie. If I didn't know any better. I mean, really, do it. Give me a good story about struggles for equality in the Ice Age universe. I'm okay with that, but just don't show off with it and do nothing something with it, because you're emptying the meaning of the word equality here. But no, I've kept you waiting long enough. You know what pushes my buttons the most in regards to Buckwild? The biggest problem with this movie is this poster. This damn poster. And I know what you're thinking. Why judge this movie based on this poster? And well, I'm not. Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna say it. This movie is not a total dumpster fire.
No way. Yes way.
The core of this movie, which is Crash and Eddie becoming independent, and more specifically, Ellie struggling with empty nest syndrome, and in the end coming to terms with that, I can appreciate that, and this core story is actually a natural addition to the story of Ice Age. I mean, remember the first Ice Age movie, the very first one? It was a story about a foundling.
The foundlings are the future.
That got returned to his people, and it was a story about belonging and found family. It's timeless, classic, whatever names you want to give it. And remember, Ellie was a foundling too. Ellie and the possums and that whole relationship is a story of found family. We actually get some embarrassingly better animated scenes from the 2006 sequel within this movie that reminds us of that. Ellie and the possums' relationship was central in this movie, and the struggle to cope with herd members leaving the pack, in this case Crash and Eddie, is so Ice Age. They actually came up with a story that deserved way better execution and more depth. There's some funny bits in this movie. The scene where the herd is looking for Crash and Eddie and they find their footprints in the snow. I love that Sid said, all that means is that their feet were here. Like, that's hilarious. Sid's actually a very keen little fella. He doesn't make assumptions about what he sees. If he only sees footsteps, well, we only know about their feet, right? But coming back to that poster, it's dishonest. It's advertised throughout the city where I live here. It's everywhere, and it's the thing that sells, that wanna sells this movie. But this poster is nicely rendered. It makes me excited for a new Ice Age movie. And if you look at other posters like this one, it's actually it's false advertising, and it makes this release of a movie that much more frustrating, because this poster is one of the first things I saw, and yeah, it piqued my interest. But then we got the trailer and ouch.
You make up for in bumbling ineptitude.
Dishonest advertising, 2000s video game cutscene animation, an incredibly bland villain, completely useless and non-threatening dinosaur minions make this movie a very low-calorie, easy watch, but not a very good one. The fact that the very core of the story about found family is actually really quintessential Ice Age doesn't save it for me. I didn't fall asleep or passionately hate it. That's the best I can do for Ice Age Buckwild. I'm thinking about wrapping this up. Thank you so much for watching. Ice Age Scrat Tales is coming out this Wednesday, a series of shorts, so I'll be definitely back with my thoughts on those. I'm curious, what did you think of Ice Age Buckwild? Be sure to let me know in the comment section. Did you like this video? Then there's this simple way to show support. Thank you so much. For now, have a wonderful day and see ya.